Well, then that would make this work then, from what you're saying.
Now you're gonna need a second sun, my friend. Listen to your friend and start procuring an additional sun.
Not necessarily. The land could be laid out differently. It could be a 2-pole system as well. Just saying, in the realm of possibilities. I personally have never stated that the AE map is the exact map of the Earth, although it does seem to be accurate in the north in a lot of ways.
But the map is irrelevant here. The map could be a gigantic triangle. It doesn't matter. What you already committed to, well, you didn't, but some people have. They committed to two things, okay? The first thing is that there's only one sun. Call them crazy, but they believe there's only one sun. The second thing many people have committed to is that that sun circles over the flat Earth, regardless of the map. And it never crosses further north beyond the small circle, known as Tropic of Cancer, and further south beyond the larger circle, known as the Tropic of Capricorn. Those two things mean, as you correctly stated, and I give you credit for that if you are further south than the bigger circle, and you're looking in the opposite direction of the center of that circle, there's no way you can see the sun in any southerly direction. So if you're in Melbourne, every single Aussie in Melbourne should tell you that the sun always appears in some northerly direction for them. Unfortunately, and this does not require any sort of publicity stunt like the final experiment, none of them would tell you that. Because in their summer, the sun rises in southeast and sets in southwest, exactly like it does in the northern summer with the opposite direction.
But not actually, right? Apparently it does that, but not actually because it's north of them, correct? Like the sun is physically north of them.
Well, in your model of the flat Earth, yes, but in reality, no.
Wait, so Australia is not south of the Tropic of Capricorn?
In reality or on flat Earth?
In reality.
In reality is south of the Tropic of Capricorn, yes.
Okay, and does the sun go beyond south of the Tropic of Capricorn?
It does not.
Okay, so the sun is actually north of Australia, just apparently looks south, correct?
No, it's not, you see, because on the globe there is no center. And north and south are completely arbitrarily chosen names. The globe is symmetrical in its relationship to both on Earth as well as the sun. There's no selected direction. This is why you guys have committed yourself to something really big. For you, it's not symmetrical. There are circles. They're concentric. See, that's a select orientation. You have a center. We don't have.
I got you. I just thought it was south of I thought it was south of 23.4 south latitude. You know how they named them all, and they told you this is the orientation and direction of them all.
Yeah, they told us. So, so now because of these, if you hold those two beliefs, that there's a single sun, and that it moves in these concentric circles. These are the extremes: north, the small one; south, the big one. And you live in Melbourne, unless you're on serious drugs, it doesn't work. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to face the armed penguins that are guarding the ice wall. You don't have to do that. You just need to go to Melbourne in summer.
Well, I do know one thing. I know you'll be staying tuned to see how this all pans out. That is one thing I will say for sure. You will be here. You'll be ready to go before and after every claimed final experiment that isn't final.
But I just told you I'm not interested in the final experiment.
That was more painful than going to the dentist.
Millions of people live south of the Tropic of Capricorn. Millions.
Hey, Gio, did you know that Answers to Genesis fell for the final experiment?
I saw Danny
Yeah,
Faulkner
they have
did
a
an
video.
interview.
Did a video saying this will end it once and for all.
What, looking at the sky?
Danny
All right.
Faulkner.
Well, then I guess
By
we'll
looking
have
at
to
the
say, we'll have to, yeah. Well, anybody who thinks it's final can carry on with their life and not be involved. So you think Danny's going to be out of? He's been writing books on flat Earth for decades. You think this is it? You think he's going to hang up the gloves for the old flat Earth?
I don't know, but
Danny's going to hang it up.
There's going to be more, but
think they're going to hang it up? All done? Dust their hands? Yeah, right.
So a quick factoid, using Grok here, take it or leave it. 200 to 250 million people live south of the Tropic of Capricorn. 250 million. We don't need to go to Antarctica. I mean, it's a cool place to go to.
So it's Melbourne.
Yeah, I haven't seen any evidence, and I mean zero evidence of at this point, it's over 100 videos I've looked at of Union Glacier, and I have not seen one that shows the sunrise or set at that time of year at Union Glacier, or that shows the sky being blue with the sun not present. Zero.
Also, the final experiment will be of value to you.
No, I'm just saying that from the video evidence of it, from what is available on video, doesn't mean that it's absolutely all valid. Just means that what is available on video right now in the world, when you look at all of that, there are also many people saying how the sun stays up all the time and never sets, always sunny there. And then footage I've seen of the sun in every position, even though there's still kind of a sparse amount of footage of the sun in the south, but nonetheless, there's still several that show it, and then the 24-hour one I found. So, I mean, the levels of let's say they go and the sun sets. Well, first of all the videos out there right now would have to be faked, every single one, which means the Illuminati's been busy hiring actors to look like bloggers and vloggers and to make all of that. So all the videos would have to be fake, every single one would have to be actors, basically, and then. It's also kind of impossible because if other civilians went there, like if they let regular people go, those people would have filmed it. And so then you'd have to stop every single one of those at the border and be like, give me all your footage. You can't take your footage back to the world. Yeah, it's just the level of coercion that would have to be going on is way beyond what probably any of us have even considered, in terms of that level of it, orchestrating that level. And I'm not saying that is the case. I'm not saying that that's all true. I'm just saying that those are the tenets at this point, because they say it's a place civilians can go. There's a lot of footage online of civilians going. It all looks pretty consistent in terms of that site, in terms of everything. The sun does not look to set at all. There's no time of a blue sky. Multiple people say the sun's in the sky all the time. At this point, I've seen many, So, I mean, there could be other things going on. Maybe the whole site is a fake site or like a sound stage or something else. But I'm just saying that those layers of it, and then just what you're talking about with the sun doing that. Yeah, it looks like the sun. I mean, I've known that. It's not new to me that the sun rises southeast and southwest, and then that would end. That continued process would end in a 24-hour sun, that same arcing, just like it does in the north. I've been saying this for a long time, that it would end up arcing, and it would end up a 24-hour sun in the south.
That's true. You seem pretty reasonable, at least in acknowledging certain things that are kind of obvious. So disregard the 24-hour issue. So what is your genuine explanation for why in Melbourne the sun sets southwest in summer?
Well, it would just be that the sun mirrors what it does in the north.
Well, how can it? Okay.
Well, you're just asking explanation for why it does that. It's mirroring what it does in the north. Now, if you're asking for like how the land is laid out, how is the entire planar Earth, what's the correct map,
Well,
what
I'm
is the
sorry.
correct
No,
position,
I'm not.
that's a whole other question.
No, nothing to do with the map. So when you say it mirrors, are you saying that while it's following the Tropic of Capricorn, which has its center in the north, as you would say, it is also at the same time following another circle that has the center in the southern celestial pole? Because that's what mirror would mean. It would mean that there's a circle with its center, let's call it north, right? Let's just agree on that. And then there's another circle that's like a mirror of that circle along some kind of imaginary axis where, so there are two circles like touching each other somewhere. That's what mirror means. If I tell you a circle and I say mirror me that circle, you'll ask me along what axis. I give you a straight line and you can then flip it and mirror it. And now you have two circles.
Yeah.
So when you say the sun is mirroring, so it's following two completely separate circles that don't share a center at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it is the way a magnetic field is structured. Like I just posted an image, shows a magnetic field where you have the two mirrored rotating vortex fields, centrifugal. You have the center point, the way that magnetic fields function. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, that's why we're all wanting more info. I mean, the globe earthers are spending $500,000 to try to send these guys there. They're doing additional observations, and everyone's staying tuned. So we'll keep.
But we don't need to stay tuned. We can imagine they never went, and the same. You and I both agree that the sun sets southwest in Melbourne in summer and during their summer. Your answer to that is the sun mirrors what it does in the north. I am asking you to qualify that statement. Well, what does it mean that it mirrors? It either goes around the Tropic of Capricorn or it doesn't. If it does, then like you admitted, because you seem to be intellectually honest, it wouldn't be visible in the southerly direction, southeast or southwest, because we're looking away from the center of that circle. So you admitted that, which means you're actually engaging. That's cool. And then you admitted that it is visible in the southwest. So, and then you said it mirrors what it does in the north. That's fine. Just qualify what you mean by mirrors.
Yeah, I just posted a Ferrocell magnetic field, shows the mirroring in the center. So you could imagine one of those is the north, one of those is the south. You get the stars. And then this observation of the sun that we're trying to get more evidence for. I mean, even with all the video footage I've found, like I used to be at like probably 2 out of 10 for a 24-hour sun of how good. I'm just talking about just video evidence. Like years ago, it was probably 2 out of 10 at best, and it got up to like a 3 or 4 out of 10 from all this recent stuff. And now it's probably at a 5, sort of 5 out of 10. So it's decent, but like the 24-hour sun evidence in the north, there's a 10 out of 10. So I'm just saying, in terms of evidentiary, that's why it's cool these guys are going. And Duffy's really into flat Earth, so he wants to invest his money in flat Earth. Apparently.
Them going is irrelevant. So I'm looking at the photo that you posted. And
no, it's not irrelevant because we're trying to talk about getting the validation and evidence that's required to continue the conversation into getting answers that you're desperately seeking. But until that evidence is above a 5 out of 10 for me, I'm not going to be able to. I mean, we could speculate and play and kind of go through games, but for me, I'm going to be intellectually honest and say that I need to see further evidence. So if it's a 5 out of 10, now if these guys go and it goes up to an 8 out of 10 for me, that's getting more. That's worth more time. We've already spent an enormous amount of time speculating about all the possibilities and models and things, So I'm just saying, like, to ask me to speculate on something that for me has not been validated, you might believe it. That's fine, but
no, it doesn't. Yeah. But I'm not asking you about it. This is the whole point. I'm not playing the final experiment game that those people are playing.
No, you are. Really You're just trying to do it in a more subdued way, but that's
not at all, because that game is a complete meme. It's a publicity stunt, okay? I am playing a different game. You just, and I enjoy talking to you because other people, they ran away from even answering the question. You said that you have no doubt regarding the reports that the sun sets southwest in Melbourne.
No, I didn't say I had no doubt. I never said those words.
Okay.
That's what the globe.
So
That's
I
what the globe model
apologize.
claims. That's what the globe model claims. Yeah, I
So
haven't.
do you
I
think
have
that
been to the
the
south. I have been there, but I didn't measure the sun rising when I was there. The southeast, southwest. I have been to south. I'm just saying I haven't been. I haven't tested that myself. No.
So let me ask you this. It is true that Antarctica is not easily accessible. We don't have to discuss why, militarized penguin force or just difficulty accessing that ice mass, whatever land mass. Doesn't matter. We know that there are large urban populations in Melbourne, in Johannesburg, many places in the south, Argentina, Chile. Are you, New Zealand, are you suggesting that it is not, that there's reasonable doubt that during their summer, they all observe the sunset in southwest? All residents of those densely populated areas, easily accessible. Do you think, for example, that it's worth sending truth seekers from the northern hemisphere to travel to Johannesburg, to Melbourne, and confirm that it is true? Or do you think that just using reports we have from people who live there, from people who work there, that we could just all agree, regardless of our beliefs regarding the shape of the earth, that the sun indeed sets in the southwest, the same way they believe us when we say that it sets in the northwest? Or do you think there might be some shenanigans going on there and, Melbourners, whatever you call them, Johannesburgians, they are suppressed and they want to tell us that it's not true, but somehow that information is filtered out and we need to go personally? Hello?
Yeah, you just sort of
I
lost
think
my
you put
engagement.
everyone to sleep here.
Yeah, for reals. That was like Bloviation City. So what's going on? What are you asking? Is there reasonable doubt of that? I would say not at the moment. No, not for me. Next.
So you agree that the south sits in the southwest?
Sure, we can look at the
I
sun
haven't been
and
there.
it sets in
I
the
have not
southwest.
checked it.
What is your
I have
Why
point,
not.
don't, why
Peter?
don't you ask a question without this nonsense about do you agree?
Okay. One
Yeah, is there
more
just some way to
time.
move forward? I mean,
Yes,
I've
there
already.
is. Yes, there
Yeah.
is. Simple question. In your mind, is there a reasonable doubt regarding the sun setting in the southwest in Melbourne during their summer?
Depends on what like the definition of like to what subjective level reasonable doubt is interpreted, because the word reasonable could mean many
In the
things in
sense
many
it's used in
contexts.
the court of law, that a reasonable person would doubt it.
Yeah, this is subjective of reasoning, but I don't think anybody's rejecting or rebutting that that's the case at the moment. So I think we can move on with the convo. I don't think anyone's
So you
saying it
can
doesn't happen.
reason. So you can reason using this information. You don't need to wait for anything. If you ever receive evidence to the contrary, then you will revisit your reasoning. But if I ask you right now and you say, I don't have reasonable doubt, then you can use this information to continue reasoning. So I'm asking you, if you have no reasonable doubt that it sets in the southwest, screw the final experiment and tell me right now what the sun is doing. And you showed me an image of like kind of circle things, two circles touching each other. So is that what the sun is doing? How is it going over those two circles at the same time? Earlier, you admitted it follows the Tropic of Capricorn. Then you said that means it wouldn't be visible as setting southwest when looking towards south in Melbourne. You then agreed that you said you don't have reasonable doubt to doubt that it does set in southwest. So what is the sun doing? All I want to hear you is to say that there are two suns, and I'll go away.
Yeah, I mean, the bad faith nature of your approach is clear at this point, so I'm not really interested.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Is
why?
it really?
No, hang on. Why didn't Peter? Why didn't you just come in and say, I want Geo to prove there are two suns? Why didn't you just come in and say that?
I don't want him to prove that. I want him to say that.
That's what you want. Yes, that is. That's exactly what this whole runaround was for.
I didn't say the word prove. I don't care about any proof. I just want him to show me that he can logically reason step by step, and so far he has, and reach a logical conclusion from his own set of beliefs and facts that there are two suns, and that's it. I won't ask.
No,
him
I
to
never
prove
said that. I've never said that ever. That's the bad faith nature. You see.
All right.
So your whole thing. See what was revealed
horrible.
is that. Well, yeah, it's horrible. What was revealed is that you didn't have an actual authentic. See, I noticed, like, because at the beginning I was sort of like answering the questions and going through it, and like I knew that it was coming, and then it came. There it is. So, like, if you were actually authentic in the engagement, that's what good faith is. Like, good faith is when you actually want to get to a conclusion. You want to understand the person's perspective.
Yeah. So, what's your conclusion?
You want to explore the ideas, but what you had was a preloaded, some kind of a random straw man. Some kind of a sociopathic gotcha, some kind of bizarre sociopathy going on where you were trying to corner someone into saying something about suns, which was never even stated.
Okay, I apologize. What's your conclusion?
That you're false.
You're horrible.
I
think we could be having a better conversation with someone else. But did you have any more questions, or?
Yeah. What's your conclusion regarding the sun?
Well, I began explaining the way magnetic fields work, but you kind of fluffed that off in replacement for your bad faith agenda.
I apologize. I looked at the picture just now, and it shows what I can only describe as two circles coming close together. I understand that's what you mean by the sun mirrors what it does in the north. So how can a singular sun follows those two completely disconnected paths? These are arcs. What you showed me was a picture of arc lines that are moving away from each other. How can a single sun at the same time travel above those two arc lines that are facing away from each other? They're like mirrored across an axis in the center. How can that happen with a physical object that has a single location, or whatever you want to call it, source of light?
Well, there would be the two straw man assumptions you're using. If you're talking to me, I never said those things at the moment.
So is there a single source of light? Is there a single... I apologize. I realized I made a mistake, and I retracted. I don't want to say a physical object. Is there a single source of light known as the sun? Yes or no? And now you cannot accuse me of bad faith because I'm asking you a very straightforward question. Is there a single source of light that we perceive that we call the sun?
I've only seen one. I've seen one sun in my life.
Well, this is good news.
It's good news for his doctor. All right, good night. This is absurd, by the way.
That's very good. I mean, so flat earthers are agreeing that there's only one sun.
Nobody said that.
Oh, so okay, all right. So flat earthers. So you guys have come up with something elegant to explain 24 hours sun in Antarctica. Have you guys come up with something yet?
You don't see a bus and then 10 come at once.
So we've talked about a lot of things, but I also clearly said that for me, the evidence of a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, if you always to rate it from 0 to 10, is probably about a 5 out of 10 at best. So That's enough to give some consideration to it and think about the layout and things, but it's not enough to get into a full-blown, long-term, exploration of it in terms of integrating it. So to me, it has to be more fully validated before it would make sense to work it in. Plus, we need to do a lot more, I don't know if you're wanting to engage in a more good faith way. That guy obviously had a series of questions and was doing some kind of a troll attack thing, which is bizarre. But we were able to discuss some things on it. But I don't know if you're wanting to have a more real conversation. But
no, the point is, it's impossible that there's not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica right now. It's impossible because it's winter in the north. There are no adverse weather conditions, no tsunamis or earthquakes that are killing millions of people. So that means the Earth is at aphelion, and it's the southern hemisphere is facing the sun more. So it's impossible that there's not a 24-hour sun at Antarctica. So whoever is down there is witnessing 24-hour sun right now.
And
okay, just on your assumptions of a globe, you're just assuming a globe. I mean, the thing is, like, what that guy Peter was talking about, those are all like points, but it just didn't seem like he had a good faith to actually get to a further discussion. He just had kind of a gotcha and then ended with an ad hom, as he does, just whatever random insult that he thinks he needs to do. So I kind of just, that was the case. But I mean, in terms of like continue that actual discussion, yeah, I mean, the thing is that like, okay, so if from the perspective, I don't know what position you have on the Earth, but I'll use the word if to be neutral. If the Earth isn't a globe, then all of the globe explanations for the sky are pretty useless in terms of getting to the truth. So, I mean, if you believe the globe, that's cool. That may just, that would be fine. You wouldn't necessarily even have to continue the quest if you think you found the truth when it comes to that. But obviously many people are looking into this, questioning it, researching, and trying to put all this together. Even the folks that assert it's a globe are obviously extremely interested in this topic. So from that perspective, like, we need to put all the puzzle pieces together and get more information, which is why these guys going is good, because it's getting more information about that trip, which is, pretty minimal coverage of information on that particular trip that you can access, other than some of these videos, that I found and whatnot. But still, it's not as extensive as it could be. That's why I'm saying it's like a 5 out of 10. Like, it's decent, but it's just not really enough, in that sense. So if these guys go and they can film it more fully, then that's great, and put more pieces together.
Well, the thing is, I have a physics credential, so I've done a lot of experiments. I've witnessed launches. I've had discussions with astronauts. I've spoken to PhD physicists, the whole 9 yards. And like I say, I've done my experiments myself. I've worked with Cavendish apparatus, Foucault's apparatus. I had to build one from scratch myself. I've worked with seismological data. I had seismograph in college, and we had to take it out to the field, and we had to do all the reading. So to us, the Earth is a globe. It's not a question. This trip to when I'm talking to flat earthers, I realize that they have not done that much work that I have done. So you guys or flat earthers going to Antarctica, it's a big deal for you. It's not a big deal for me. You understand? It's if I went down there, it would be like a sightseeing tour. It's like going to Egypt to see the pyramids. Make sure you see the pyramids when you go to Egypt. So when you go to Antarctica in the winter, make sure you see the 24-hour sun. We take a couple photos, we come home. As scientists, we're jolly and we appreciate it. For you guys, it's a proof thing that you're looking for. Unfortunate for you. If that is what is going to prove something to you, you are probably not going to be convinced. You should be convinced way before going to Antarctica.
Okay, yeah, I never said anything about being convinced or changing any ideas. I just said getting more information about the observations and about the sun. I didn't say anything about that it would make any decision of proving anything, or I'm waiting for some big proof. That's the way Will Duffy, the guy running it, he's trying to sell it as that, as if it's, this final thing that once they see this observation, if it fits what he thinks the Earth is, then all of a sudden it's a grand slam or whatever he thinks he's doing. But yeah, I never stated anything like that. What I said is just to get more information about the sky and about. Well, I mean, yeah, really, I mean that trip is only going to give just a position of the sun and the sky movement at Union Glacier. It's basically what they're going to be able to have data for.
Yeah,
more data than currently exists, and they're doing things like that have never been done. Like no one's ever live streamed from Antarctica in this kind of community in any way, or even
Right.
even other live streams haven't even really happened. Nobody's looked at the sun with a solar filter, at least not like in this context of a 24-hour sun. Nobody's like used infrared that I'm aware of as well. So yeah, there's some firsts that they'll be doing. But yeah, I don't think it doesn't prove anything about the shape of the ground, but it does validate something about the way the sky moves, the sun moves above us.
Well, I mean, scientists have done all of those things that you have mentioned. They have looked at the sun, infrared with filters. That was done decades ago. It's interesting now that flat earthers are doing these things. And one of the things that I always say to flat earthers is like, you have not done any work. There's no work, right? You haven't done experiments. You may have done research, but that's just one part of the scientific method. I mean, you need to actually put on your hard hat and go out into the field and build stuff. I was just watching a documentary of students of a couple of universities that came together and they built a balloon that they sent up during the eclipse. So that's an experiment they built. They took photos, and those things are great. So flat earthers, to me, have not done that kind of work, and that is why you're in the position you are. You need to work before you have this conversation. You have to go into the field with experiments and measurements and filters and Antarctica. If you want to go there, that's okay. Build rockets. Try to, find out what's underneath your feet, look at the instruments that are used, do some stuff, right?
Who are you talking
This
to?
is like stepping back in time, bro.
Who are you talking to? Are you just like
I have a question
just general rhetoric, or what is this? I don't know. Go ahead, something real, please.
Yeah, I have a question for the guy speaking. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondered how the Caribbean space project's going.
The Caribbean Space Project?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not involved in it. I'm sorry. I'm in the US. I apologize.
Oh. You're not detracting from your roots, are you?
Yeah, I'm not over there. I hope that they're doing work, and stuff like that.
Their due diligence.
Yeah, I'm sure the different countries are, they have their own space programs. So these things are good.
I just thought, like, because you was in the loop, I was just wondering if you could give me a heads up on it.
Yeah, no, I'm not part of that. I'm in the United States. I was in the summertime. I was at Cape Canaveral, and I witnessed a launch.
What's that?
There.
Meet and greet with space people?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you guys ever been to the Kennedy Space Center?
I don't know. I've just seen it on telly.
Right. So don't see it on TV. Go there.
Dude, is this guy seriously trying to make an argument that we're not doing work while Witsit is in Antarctica right now, basically risking his life to get experimental data or to get observational data? And then also about not doing work. Why don't you go to Alan and Shane's channels once, and when you get through that in about 6 months, come back to
name an
us.
experiment you have done, brother.
Please don't interrupt. by the way?
My longest distance observation is 81 miles. So I did that once. What do you got for a long distance observation?
You're not going to be able to see more than 3.5 miles if you're a 6-foot observer. So
So that's why I saw a square butte from 81 miles.
Yeah, if you did 81 miles, brother, you were at a very high altitude. Bravo. Your horizon is further.
That's total nonsense.
The Earth curves away from you further if you're at a higher altitude. Yes, sir.
I was not. Dude, I was on a flat plane. You can go look this up right now. Square butte in Montana.
You were only 6 foot in the air and you observed something 81 miles away?
Correct. I observed a 2,400 foot square butte. It had 2,400 feet of prominence, which means that's how far it's coming up from my elevation, and I saw it from 81 miles. You can go ahead and do the math and then invoke refraction like I know you're going to anyway.
Okay, what is your elevation again? What's your observer height?
Oh, you can look. Easily less than 50 feet.
So okay, good. You were way up there, and that's good. You're going to see pretty far, and you're going to be at the behest of refraction at that altitude. So have you taken into account refraction when you're doing that observation?
Yeah, the funny thing about refraction is you guys always make it say it looks perfectly flat, but that happens in every atmospheric condition that we can make an observation in. In the middle of the desert, perfectly looks flat. Frozen Canadian lake, perfectly looks flat. Looking over the ocean, perfectly looks flat. The refraction is always picture perfect to make it appear flat in every atmospheric condition we can test. That's a glaring inconsistency that just makes your bias obvious. I gotta get back to work.
I say if you're viewing something that's 81 miles away and you're 50 feet in the air, that's where you are. You can view something 81 miles away if you're 50 foot in the air. You can. That's easy. The calculations all match up. So I'm not sure what your issue is here. Why didn't you try to see something 1,000 miles away? Maybe that would have been more palatable for your audience. You understand?
Well, the long distance record for photography is like 600 and some miles right now, and the best globe answer is it's clouds on the horizon.
Very good. No, and that makes sense. So the altitude for something to view something 600 miles away, they would have to be a good 200 feet into the air. 200 or 400 feet in the air, 200 to 400 feet in the air. That's fine. That's okay. You do that, and a giveaway is you're only going to see that object that far away only a certain time of year where the sun and the right amount of refraction is there. If you're seeing
refraction. Dude, you couldn't see that far no matter.
Refraction is an issue for you. But the thing is that
no, it's not, bro. Seriously, stop for just a second. Stop embarrassing yourself. He used an infrared camera, which is cutting through all the glare. So nice try. Thanks for playing.
No problem. Is he doing that all? How many days did he do that for? Did he do that over a period of a week? Or just one day and came to the Flat Earth room and celebrated? You see, science.
I gotta get to work. I don't know.
I got a tip for you. If you're using the word behest, you have to have that action by a person. I don't think what you phrased it in makes any sense. Maybe you're a little bit confused.
An anthropologist is in the Amazon right now studying the behavior of a specific organism. She's been there for 2 years. So that's science.
That's what science is.
You don't do something for a day or an hour.
Do you remember the guys who were locked?
Have changed the shape of the earth in 1 hour. You don't do that.
Do you remember the guys who were locked in a room?
Get to work, brother.
Do you remember the guys who were locked in a room?
Don't drive. Hold
on, bro. Hold on. You're interrupting a lot. We need to get on a better conversation. Schlitz, you got something good, something we can move into that's better than this?
Yeah, just like these people is like insane. It's like a bus. I'm waiting for the next person to come in.
I won that debate. You guys lost. You have nothing. I've given you data, information upon information.
Hold on, dude. So hold on. You're doing
all
a
you've
bet.
done.
All right.
All you have done is yelled out.
All right. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, thank God.
Boy, talk about presupposing.
Thank you.
Oh, man. I was waiting for someone else to say, like, as that one fades out, another one comes in. I don't know. It was like they was all on the same train. What's the update from Witsit then?
Let's just presuppose it's a globe right from the gate. Let's just do that first.
So they stay in, like, they're all in Santiago, Chile, yeah? Apart from the Globers who are actually in Punta Arenas, no?
I think they're all going to be in Punta Arenas here by tomorrow.
Oh, I thought they was like some was stopping in Santiago for a couple of days. Maybe I got confused.
Maybe they are, but
they're all in Punta Arenas.
Within 2 or 3 days, they're all.
Oh, they're all there, yeah.
Oh, are they? Okay.
I can post the tracker in for you guys.
Yeah, you're roboting a little bit. Yeah, if you can post that, I appreciate it. I keep trying to find it, and it's just sort of like, I don't know, it's so far up the chat, I couldn't see it. I'm going to save the link.
Where did those two monsters come from, anyway?
The other guy, I wanted to ask him because he sounded like he was from Norway or something like that. I wanted to ask him if he'd actually seen the 24-hour sun in the north, because I'm sure he was like Norwegian from Finland, that area. Quite good with accents.
You guys don't know Peter in here?
No.
Oh yeah, we know him.
Gio, you never talked to Peter? Oh, okay, yep, all right.
The one that was just in here?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's I've heard some heated exchanges with that guy.
Yeah,
if I had to take a guess, I'd think it was probably Go ahead.
No, he's a flat earth enthusiast. He's into it.
Enthusiast, that's funny. I was gonna say he probably got kicked off the Aether Cause server. It's probably the server he got kicked off of if I had to guess. Well, you guys have seen the Joe Hanvey model, haven't you?
I haven't.
Gio, have you seen the Joe Hanvey model?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I have.
I've seen some of his stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he just came up with an explanation for why we'd see the 24-hour sun in Antarctica with a one singular sun in the sky, and basically it's just your own personal atmospheric dome, and then the dome itself. You can go. I posted the video in the chat earlier.
I was trying to look for this video. The guy was explaining it where, like, he was talking like this, but instead of a dome within a dome, it's like just that your personal dome kind of thing. And depending on where you are.
Well, see, that's just the thing, in my opinion. There's still so many questions about, the effects that can be made or, that we're subject to that we don't even understand yet. And so it's just, I don't know. If, well, obviously, I do believe that we live in a closed system. And so there's got to be some sort of enclosure, obviously, in my opinion. But yeah, I just, I don't know. Those guys, they just really rub me wrong because they just started. It has to be a globe. You have to start there first. You got to start at being a globe. That's the only way you can start. You can't see anything 600 miles away without being miles in the air. You can't. That's just impossible because we live on a globe. That really bugs me that they just can't start from ground zero. Not flat, not globe, not nothing. Let's just go out and see what we got. Let's just start from ground zero. Why can't we get anybody to do that? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Don't you like when you say let's start from ground zero? But don't you see how even that is? Like I started to think, like if you just say you drew a circle, and say we lived on a ball, and that circle is the complete circumference of the ball. Then you put all the, the valleys and the ups and downs. You imagine how you would actually get to that, that baseline to take that first measurement. It's never going to happen. So, globe thing is just, I don't know. I try to put my feet in their shoes to see, how you could possibly imagine or, to even try to calculate. And there's no way you can calculate.
The globe violates practically every natural law there is in the world. I mean, it violates gas laws. Second law of thermodynamics. It violates almost everything they say is real, is violated 100% by the globe. And so I just don't see how they can't see that. I mean, it's just it's like, oh my God, I've been violated over and over and over. Stop.
Hey, it takes balls to violate someone like that, you know what I mean? You gotta be one of them heliosexuals.
Yeah. Next, they'll be like gaining access to Uranus.
I hear Earth can fit into Uranus 64 times. 65 if you relax. Just kidding. All right, guys, enough. Move on. This is terrible.
Let's get a subject.
Bad for airtime.
Let's get a subject going.
But it was funny. But bad for airtime.
I have a quick question. Just think about this. If you had like a research group that was trying to do something, you're trying to, whatever it may be, you're doing tests or experiments, whatever it may be that you're testing. Would you want, it's one thing to have detractors, like if you're like doing a debate or some kind of a thing where you would have, some kind of commentary. But if you were just doing the research with your group, would it be beneficial or detrimental to have detractors there? That the heckling, the throwing tomatoes while you're actually trying to discover more about something.
I think it could work both ways. It could work both ways because it could make, like you're more fixed and more focused, or like it could detract you from.
It would depend on the person and depend on the type of interference. Because if it was constructive interference, then or criticism or whatever, then it might actually do the proper thing with almost anybody and spur them forward. Whereas if someone's just being a jerk and just trying to detract, everything you say is wrong because you said it, kind of thing, It doesn't work. Make anyone mad.
I think it's the same as if you go to a job and you've got all the tools to do that job, then you're asked to do something else and you ain't got those tools. In my experience, it's better to come back the next day, because if you haven't got all the tools, you just ain't going to finish that job. Yeah, it depends. I think it depends on the person.
That's a good point, but I think they're bringing the wrong tools right from the gate.
Well, I don't know what tools they're bringing.